How bad is the best tripod in the world? Well, the ULANZI F38 quick release travel tripod has been getting incredible reviews. But I want to know, it's got to have flaws, right? There's got to be something bad about this. For context, one of the best travel tripods ever was by Peak Design. Now, this Peak Design travel tripod is incredibly expensive. We're talking like a ton of money. ULANZI sent me this. This is the F38 quick release travel tripod. They gave me one to review. They didn't pay me any money. They didn't say, Vic, you got to say this, you got to say that. They just said, take the tripod. But they did tell me one thing to say, which I'll explain to you guys a little later on, so definitely worth checking out for that. Hanging out for that. This, right, is made of the same material as that really hyper expensive Peak Design one. So this is half the price. It's made of carbon fiber. Now, I'm not MacGyver or anything, but carbon fiber is an incredibly lightweight material and it is super strong. What does that mean? It just means that, you're not going to have a smashback if you've got this in your camera bag and dragging it around wherever you are, because this is incredibly lightweight and really strong. This has got all the usual tripod features that you'd come to expect from a tripod. It's got legs, 3 legs, tripod. These are made of carbon fiber. The whole thing is carbon fiber. These are rock solid. These aren't going to bend or break anytime soon. And of course, these kind of leg clips braces are very smooth. They're very, very solid, and they just extend as far as you want, or indeed any height that you could probably imagine yourself going to with a tripod of this size. So far, so good. There's nothing bad here, right? But onto what really can make or break any tripod, no matter the cost, and that's the ball head. This thing up here, which what you attach your camera to. This uses ULANZI's Falcon Quick Release Plate, which is a tiny little plate that you screw on. It's a 1/4-inch thread, and you screw that onto basically whatever camera you have, or it could be a camera cage. Now, this plate has got one little bit of super secret sauce that I'm going to talk a little bit more about in a sec. But once you get it on, this slides in and slides off as easy as what you're seeing on screen. There is a button here for the release, and if you twist this, you can lock it, so this is not going to go in no matter what you do. So if you Hulk smash this, you're not going to accidentally leave your camera slide out. The real secret sauce of this little plate here is this is Arca Swiss compatible. I've even used it to hang an expensive Sony FX3 off the ceiling on a competitor's ball head. Now, speaking of ball heads, if you don't like the ball head that's here, and more about this in a sec, then you can simply just swap it out, because ULANZI for free right now will supply you with a different center column that you can just pop this out, put in the new center column, and screw on whatever ball head that you have or that you would prefer to use. But I'm not really sure why you'd prefer to use a different type of ball head than the one that comes with this, because this thing is super functional. So not only does it support vertical shooting, so you can have your camera either to the left or to the right vertically, because it's got a left and a right here, so this ball head can tilt this way or this way. Super useful. It also has a panning feature, so you can pan a full 360 simply by loosening this little knob and knob and just twisting and turning to your heart's and panoramic content. So what's so bad about all this? Nothing so far. The ball head can be raised or lowered for whatever type or height you want, and if you bring it up, you simply use another lever then to position it into whatever angle that you want. There's even a handy little level to make sure that your shots are level. Sorry. I know what you're saying. You're like, Vic, a lot of other tripods that are cheaper have a lot of this functionality. They do, but none of them feel as solid as this, at least in my experience. There's nothing flimsy here at all. This thing is like rock solid. I'm really trying to find some of the bad stuff. So speaking of bad stuff, let's take a look at the legs, because depending on where you're actually shooting, these feet that are on the end of the legs, I'm full of, these may not be suitable for wherever you're shooting. So you could say, okay, Vic, that's a bad thing. Well, you could probably argue that, except ULANZI supply different feet in the box, so you can screw these ones off and screw in more metal pointier toes, feet, if you so desire. So that could be really useful depending on the setup that you've got going on where you're shooting. I'm just going to stay with the legs here for another second because there's a little button here that you can change the angle of the legs to whatever you want. You can almost get this completely flat at a very, very low angle. There is some serious thought gone into the design of this tripod. I've been using this ULANZI and Coleman F38 quick release tripod to give it its full title, which is probably the only bad thing. It's just a bit long-winded. But that aside, I've been using this for my last couple of videos and it has performed faultlessly. It just moves smoothly, it moves conveniently, and it's one less thing to think about once you get your camera in here and locked in. You're good to go whatever angles that you want. Is there a bad thing? Well, let's call it for what it is. Essentially, this is not a cheap tripod. If you check the link in the description, ULANZI did tell me to tell you guys that there's a special discount code. It's on the screen now, and the link in the description will get you some money off. If you are buying a tripod, chances are you're probably going to go for a cheap thing because after all, it's just about balancing the camera or just getting it level. Yeah, and then you start running into some problems like reliability, the weight, it's too heavy, it doesn't bend the way you want, it doesn't move the way you want, and so on and so forth. So investing in a really good tripod is something that I feel that everybody should consider doing. Now, again, this ain't cheap, but if you look at the Peak Design travel tripod at double the price, yeah, I don't know. At half the price, this baby is phenomenal. And that's not bad. That was cheesy. Either way, this is epic.